Hi, I will be talking about the entirety of The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2 in this video. So if you somehow didn't know anything about these two games, there's going to be a lot of spoiler. The Last of Us is undoubtedly the one series that made the most headlines out of the gaming space in the last 10 years. Released in 2013, The Last of Us for the PS3 raised the bar so high that at least a few dozen critics use it as an example to argue that video games are art. Although I would argue it's partly because it uses many techniques found in more traditional media, instead of on merit of it being an interactive experience. If you remove all the gameplay and just show people the cutscene, you could probably trick them into thinking it's an animated film. And in fact, just this year, The Last of Us is adapted into a live-action series on HBO, with many scenes a one-for-one recreation of the source material. 7 years later, The Last of Us Part 2, for better or worse, attracted even more attention than its predecessor. Between all the controversies about the death of a beloved character being accused of pandering to the queer community, and that one Asian guy whose only purpose in the story is seemingly just to provide a baby for our lesbian couple, I think the point of the story is lost, buried under 6 feet of outrage by people who either think it's the best game of all time or the worst crime against humanity, which is a shame. Because to me, The Last of Us is about love and hate, and how both are capable of making us into terrible monsters. The Last of Us Part 1 is in many ways a very straightforward game. You're Joel, you lost your daughter, now you must escort this girl to save the world. Naturally, there are lots of things in the way. Gangs, bandits, cannibals. But at the end, it's about Joel and Ellie finding in each other what they are missing in life. The rest of the story is mainly in service of this central plot. For example, the brothers Henry and Sam. They are meant to be the mirror image of Joel and Ellie, the guardian figure and the somewhat naive child. After the two pairs spend some time together, Sam, the younger brother, is unfortunately infected and subsequently shot by his own brother. Henry, either from guilt or the sheer inability to go on without his brother, shot himself. Henry cannot bear to live without Sam, and the same goes for Joel as well. They will give everything to keep the others safe, and even if they can't, they will surely die trying. This event seemingly foreshadowed the ending of the game. Joel will sacrifice himself to save Ellie, because he simply cannot be a world without her. Well, at least that's what I thought when I played this 10 years ago. After being rescued by the people they are trying to reach this entire game,
Welcome to the Fireflies.
Joel learned that Ellie is indeed the key to save humanity, to take back the world, and maybe one day restore it to its former glory. But the procedure will kill her. There's simply no version of this where Joel and Ellie live happily ever after in a perfect world. So our man goes on a suicide mission against a hospital full of soldiers, who as far as we know are the good guys. So he kills and he kills and he kills. He takes weapons off the soldiers he killed and shoots their friends with it. He set traps and blows them to pieces. He stabbed the surgeon and smashed the other's head in. At the end, he succeeds in saving his little girl. But at what cost? How can Joel tell Ellie so many good people are killed for her, and that the world is doomed? He cannot. He lied.
Swear to me that everything that you've said about the Fireflies is true.
I swear.
Because Joel would rather lose the world than to lose his little girl again.
If I ever were to lose you, I'd surely lose myself.
Like I said before, The Last of Us is a story about love. Well, it might sound weird since Joel killed a lot of people, and I'm not even sure all of them deserve it. But he didn't kill them out of hatred. They are just in the way. He kills because
You just come after her.
ultimately it's an act of love. He kills not because he just hates these people so fucking much. The Last of Us Part 2 is also a game about love, but to a much greater extent, it's a game about hatred. Unlike the first game, the story of The Last of Us Part 2 wants to be a lot of things. And I would say that it would be better to split the story into two separate games. Because when so many parts of the story are actively drawing attention to itself, none of them are getting any, resulting in an incredibly confused narrative. Why did the game cut off right at the climax, just to spend 6 hours reintroducing Abby?
We let you both live, and you wasted it.
Dad? Dad? Dad! Come on.
What is this entire redemption arc doing in my revenge story? I have no idea. It feels like they came up with two completely separate scripts, and the director was like, why not both? On one hand, you have Abby killing Joel in revenge, so in turn, Ellie go after Abby, which is a perfectly functional story. Then we cut to Abby for like 6 hours so that she can realize the cults she has been fighting all this time are people too. Wow. Then proceed to redeem herself by saving this transgender kid. This redemption arc is by no means bad. I just have no idea what's doing here. If I'm more cynical, I could say that Naughty Dog is doing this purely as an appeal to the killer community, by forcing us to empathize with Abby, who has 3 trunks for arms, and her transgender sidekick. I don't believe this is the case, because both characters are well written enough to stand on their own. I especially like Lev. Despite being rejected by his community, he didn't hold any grudges. He still wanted to be part of the community, but as himself. He is genuinely one of the few characters in this game who is actually likable.
Cool. What? Never mind.
I just have trouble discussing the two plots under the same context. But when I start treating them as separate individual art, instead of two pieces of the same puzzle, I found a story that actually has something to say about love, hatred, and our tendency to self-destruct. The real tragedy of The Last of Us Part 2 is that both characters, in multiple points, has the chance to stop. The further in the story we go, the more it looks like a bad idea to keep going. But at the same time, we also understand that there's no way for them to just stop. How could they? Both have taken away people the other loved. There's no version of this where Ellie and Abby meet and say, hey, I killed your people, you killed mine, let's go even. The love between Ellie and Joel, Abby and Jerry is the reason they can go so far.
Joel, get up.
To kill, to torture. Such hatred stems from their love for the ones they cared about. How can you let go when your father is killed by the very same scalpel that is supposed to save people? How can you, when the closest person you have in this world is beaten, tortured, murdered right in front of your face? We have to consider that the post-apocalypse have no authority, no police. So we can't even rely on the reassurance that the perpetrator will be running from the law for the rest of their life. There's no justice except frontier justice. No law is gonna throw them in jail for you. If you give up, that's it. You will never get a resolution. And that's the point, isn't it? Resolution? So we can finally move on? Of course, trauma never really goes away. But at least it will stop hunting us every single night. The final confrontation between Ellie and Abby makes much more sense from this perspective. People who hated this scene are usually somewhere between confused and frustrated, and I don't blame them. The final 3 hours of this game feels like it's dragging out the runtime of an already very long game. When you get to Santa Barbara, it's likely that you already played this for well over 20 hours. Now we're in the wasteland with an assault rifle. For what, exactly? So Ellie can release the woman she abandoned her family to kill, who would have died anyway if Ellie just stayed home. Then Ellie walk Abby to the beach, throw her gun away, so they can have a Metal Gear style final fist fight? What? These scenes make no sense under the context that Ellie is there to kill Abby. Well, yes, Ellie truly wanted to kill her, but what she wanted more is resolution.
I'm not gonna fight you. Yes, you will.
Resolution that she never gets with Joe.
Don't you fucking touch me!
One that's taken from her right as they were starting to heal.
But I would like to try.
Do you really think the characters don't know that revenge is bad? After the quest for vengeance resulting in the death of loved ones and friends? Despite knowing it will do nothing but harm, they have to see it through. They have to somehow end it all. Such is the self-destructing tendency of man. It's only when they reach the end of the world, when one has the other at their mercy, can one realize that actually going through with the deed they are here to do won't make it better. Retaliation don't bring back lost love. It's not so obvious when you're lost in the thought of hatred. Not until you stand alone in the ruin of your former life, and the path you just walked is filled with the bodies of friends and foes alike. To quote the ending of the best manga in the past 20 years, there's nothing to learn from a lesson without pain. It's not revenge is bad. Yes, revenge is bad, but you can't stop doing it, not until all your friends are dead and you're left broken and alone. The live-action adaptation of The Last of Us is generally liked by those who play the game and newcomers to the series. It's almost inevitable that The Last of Us Part 2 will be getting the same treatment in the near future. It will probably be very good. I just hope that this time, instead of being distracted by bigotry, we can appreciate the somewhat confused but ultimately emotional core of the series.
I don't think I can ever forgive you for that. But I would like to try.
I'd like